Welcome to California Lutheran University's Introduction to Financial Planning course. In this presentation, we will discuss the financial planning client. In particular, we'll explore how every client is unique. But there are elements of commonality that will help us in our planning activities. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe some common client concerns, explain the concept of economic life cycle, and realize the impact of special situations on planning priorities. Each client is unique with his or her own wants and needs, hopes and dreams, priorities, financial circumstances, and family circumstances. Nevertheless, there are commonalities that we look for as a starting point in our planning work, including 1. Common life concerns, 2. Economic life cycles, and 3. Special circumstances. Let's begin by looking at 3 common client concerns: fear of running out of money, fear of dying prematurely, and fear of becoming disabled. Fear of running out of money. According to a 2010 AARP survey, 6 out of 10 seniors fear running out of money more than they do death. Part of the fear is directly related to the reality that at an advanced age, there is an inability to do anything about it. Going back to work is generally not an option for seniors. The person may not be physically able to resume work. Many others will not be able to get hired, and if they do, the person would probably be in a low-paying part-time position. The inability to go back to work leads to the fear of becoming homeless and destitute. Clearly, an image of losing one's home and living on the street creates a powerful emotion. There are certainly planning implications in dealing with this concern. First, it highlights the importance of creating a cash management plan that will generate systematic savings. It also supports the need for a retirement plan that offers guaranteed income through retirement. It establishes value in both spouses owning life insurance so that there are some proceeds for the surviving family members. The financial impact of long-term health care establishes the need to purchase long-term care insurance. There is value in providing the client with some education regarding social programs such as Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare. The fear of dying prematurely. Some of the concerns related to dying prematurely are the thought of leaving one's family without income for their living needs, unpaid debts that were the obligation of the couple may have severe impact on the surviving spouse's welfare, and insufficient resources for the children to attend college. Relevant planning implications when working with a client who's thinking about these issues might include leverage the estate with term life policies, at least until which time the client has built their own estate. Understand any employer group life policies. Build emergency fund assets, and make sure that estate planning documents and titling are current. Fear of disability. It's clear that medical costs have a major negative impact on the client's financial security. In fact, in 2007, medical problems such as disability, hospital bills, long-term care bills was the primary factor in over 60% of all bankruptcies. So what are the concerns? Well, if I become disabled, I won't be able to generate income for my family's living expenses. Moreover, there are my own living expenses during the disability. Planning implications include the need for long-term disability, if this benefit is not provided by the employer, the need to build emergency funds, and possibly the need to secure a home equity line of credit. Note that the likelihood of a prolonged disability far exceeds the likelihood of a premature death. The economic life cycle is something that is useful to think about as we look for commonality among clients. Quoting Sway Associates, age drives different needs, while wealth leads to different solutions. Specific needs and life transitions reappear as clients move through their lives. This life cycle framework is also a useful tool for understanding the situation when analyzing data. The economic life cycle consists of three major phases: the accumulation stage, the consolidation stage, and the spending stage. Later in the course, we'll break down these categories even further. Let's examine each of these three stages. The accumulation stage, or the early career years. In the accumulation stage of the life cycle, a person is normally beginning a career, accumulating assets, and possibly starting a family. This stage is typically when the client is in the 20 to 40 year age bracket. There are bills to be paid, perhaps from school loans, and expenses incurred as assets such as a home, an automobile, and higher ticket personal items are purchased. During this stage, debt is a significant component of the total financial picture, and the person might have a negative net worth. Cash flows are challenged. Therefore, a typical goal is to slowly create an emergency fund. Because there is a long-term time horizon until retirement, the person can accumulate high levels of volatility in an investment portfolio. That means there's a stronger argument for including growth assets, such as equities, in the retirement portfolios. If family's in the picture, there's a real need for insurance coverages. This is typically not enough estate value built to provide for the needs of the family members should the wage earner be disabled or meet an untimely passing. Also, there's a need to start savings for the children's college education. The consolidation stage, or those mid to late career years. In the consolidation stage, the wage earner is typically at the peak of their earning power. Their career has time to mature, most of the needed assets have been acquired, and some, if not most of the debts have been paid off. That translates into strong positive cash flows. With higher earnings, there's a need for competent tax planning strategy. This stage of the life cycle is typically when the person's in their 40s and 50s. The children have entered or completed college. With that cost out of the way and assets accumulated, the predominant need shifts to acquiring assets to support the person or the couple through retirement. The focus now moves to retirement plans, IRA contributions, and investment portfolios. With a 10 to 20 year time horizon until her retirement, there's still a strong case for growth investing. If the client's a business owner, then another need is to address business ownership transfer. For example, a buy-sell agreement or a transition plan. The last stage of the life cycle, ages 60 to 90, is the spending or distribution stage. It represents that period of time that the person spends through retirement. Of course, the traditional concept of retirement is changing. No longer is it just a period of sitting around. Now retirees create jobs fueled by their hobbies and their passions. They travel extensively during the first part of the retirement. They get involved pursuing dreams they've put off for a number of years. In short, this stage is quite varied, especially during the first decade or so of retirement. With that said, there are similarities. One is the common need to shift from growth-oriented investments to capital preservation. Another is the concern for adequate health care. As you proceed through the financial planning curriculum, you will revisit the economic life cycle numerous times. You will learn what insurance needs typically exist at different points in the cycle. You'll learn how asset allocations for investment portfolios shift. You'll acquire a practical understanding of what was meant by that quote, age drives different needs, while wealth leads to different solutions. But within each of these stages, there are sub-commonalities. Is the client single or married? If married, Do the couple have children? Have the children left the nest? In respect to retirement, where is the client within that retirement phase of life? Is the person recently retired and quite active, traveling and doing things that they put off for years? Is the person now at that stage in lifestyle is more passive, remaining at home and involved with friends in the community? Or is it in that final stage, which is often dominated by health challenges? You can see that within each of the major economic life cycles, there are also some other commonalities that gives us a heads up on possible concerns, where the needs and the priorities come to the surface. We have a starting point in working with each of our unique clients. Another area of commonality is special situations. Again, this area can flow not only through the major life cycles, but also through the subcategories. Later in this course, you'll be investigating special situations in more detail. However, listed here are several important circumstances: divorce, loss of spouse, disability or terminal illness, dependents with special needs, monetary windfalls, for example, a bonus, an inheritance, a major gift, job change and job loss, non-traditional families such as single parent with dependent, and planning for families of military servicemen and servicewomen. In each of these circumstances, there are some common planning activities and priorities that we need to think about. You'll be moving through each of the core pieces of the financial planning puzzle: cash and debt management, risk management, income tax planning, funding for education, investment planning, retirement planning, and estate planning, assessing the unique needs and priorities for the given special situation. In this lesson, we discussed how every client is unique. However, there are some commonalities: common client concerns, economic life cycle needs and concerns, and special situational needs and concerns.